What's going on, man? Welcome to the live. Hope everybody's having a good day. So right now, I'm just crafting right now, just working on some stuff. I'm gonna do this, press this button here for about a good hour or so. About to start working on Instagram. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Working on content. Yeah, because I messed up by let's see, yeah. Do 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 do. I wanna get next to you. Let's see. All right, so let's see what we got going on here. I don't need that one. I really do like this. There's a feature here where you can mirror on the iPhone. I think that's pretty cool. So I'm like, oh yeah. But right now I'm just working on uploading some stuff to Instagram. Trying to stay consistent more so than anything, Just one thing at a time. Oh, you know it's time, but I'll be your friend. Somebody tell me, and your vows in the sound, but I'll be your friend. Somebody to lean on. I got a lot of apps on my phone. Oh, well, I just closed all my apps. Low key didn't mean to do that, but it's all good. To lean on me. Your friend. Somebody to lean on. Oh. Trying to stir up my matcha here. I tried to do a different matcha. This one is iced matcha with almond milk, and I put it's 1 pump of caramel syrup. That's not bad. 1 pump. That's cool. I like that. 1 pump ended up being just good enough. I like to try different stuff, man. That's all it is. Let's see what we got going on here. Let this do its thing. So my goal, ultimately, excuse me, still waking up a little bit. My goal is to just go ahead and just get one good solid clip, man. It just talks about discipline, just locking everything in. Almost a little long-winded. I don't like that one. I'm just pulling clips from a video I made a while ago. It sounds like I'm yelling in that clip. This video was definitely not like my best video. It's a video I made, the discipline, the self-awareness one. But let me see here. What are the steps that you took since the last time you realized you're mad about something? That's a good question. I feel like a lot of people, so that's the thing, right? When life gets difficult, when life gets difficult, you have to be able to take a moment and sit back and evaluate, okay, why is my life the way that it is? And the reason why it's so important and powerful to take accountability for where your life is at this moment in time, it makes it easier for you to find a blueprint. It makes it easier for you to find a path. Because where a lot of people hold themselves up is that they focus on the issue instead of focusing on the solution. Excuse me. If you spend more time focusing on the problem instead of finding a solution, that's where that constant loop kicks in. You're gonna always be in a constant loop. Life is always gonna feel slow. Life is always gonna feel stagnant. And this is why I was trying to encourage people, man, practice that self-awareness. Pay attention to how you really feel. If something is making you feel some kind of way, make that known. Speak on it. The longer you sit back waiting to feel comfortable, the longer you sit back to where you feel motivated, right? The longer your life is gonna just sit and be stagnant. That's all it is. It's just being competent and being accountable and self-aware. You know what I mean? Like that's huge. Accountability is huge. And it's a big reason behind why, like, you got mainstream people like Andrew Tate, you know what I'm saying? Simon Panda, two different people, but they're both alpha males in their own way. And you don't even have to be an alpha male to understand this, man. That's just the way life is. When you learn to take accountability for where your life is at, right? The easier it be for you to get things together, the easier it be for you to stay consistent. And you got to practice self-love, man. It's definitely one of those things where if I knew what I knew now back then, I'll definitely be in a better position now. That's not saying I'm not grateful about my life. That's not the same thing for you either. When you understand the importance of how time doesn't stop, time is always constantly moving, man, it just forces you to look at life differently. You know what I'm saying? It forces you to step out your comfort zone. It forces you to take risks. Life is all about risk. Well, risking and experience, to be more specific. But man, I don't know. That's just, I feel like people can make their life a lot easier the moment they learn to take accountability for where their life is at. Because you're no longer pointing fingers. What I'm saying? You're no longer blaming the quality of your life on outside circumstances. It's a different feeling, man, when you just learn to embrace. It's a different feeling, man, when you just learn to embrace owning it and taking accountability. Because when you own it and learn to take accountability, man, ain't nobody touching you. You're unstoppable at that point. You know what I mean? So take accountability. That's all it is. Self-awareness, self-love, man. All it is just accountability, man. Are you getting the right amount of sleep? Are you going to the gym, staying consistent? You know what I'm saying? Are you eating healthier? Are you getting your 8 to 10 hours? Are you doing regular massaging? Like it hits in so many different levels, man. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that usually until it's too late, which kind of sucks because when it's too late, it's like, but that's just me. Let me see what Stan got me for. Let me see here. Chill. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know I'm saying it's too long. Okay. I'm saying here. That's a simple fix. I like that. This stuff could be a little tedious, but it comes with the journey, man. You gotta learn to love it, though. I think that's Maroon 5 that was just playing. Take out the pauses for me. This AI stuff be tough, man, when it work. I forgot my mouse pad. Let me see what we got on here. So where's the 10-minute pull out at? This is what I'm talking about. You need to be aware of. I'm gonna start right here. Take that out. Okay, so then I could probably trim this. Right? Yeah, we could definitely trim this down some. Job opening. All right, let me see here. Yeah, because with Opus Pro Clip, what it does for me, it lets me kind of narrow things in. Let me see here. I don't know if I like that one though. Let me see here. Let's see what that looks like. Because that, I don't know, it's just energetically, it feels off. Let me see here. Let me see here. I see that caramel ain't really go all the way to the bottom yet. There we go. Okay, sweet. So it's a 16-second clip. Should we do on-screen captions throughout the whole video? I want whatever is in his coffee. He has something in his coffee. He had to.
Like, what was that?
I don't know. Lateral movement? I don't know.
He's not on this player.
Not at all. That's impressive. That was impressive. I'm in the coffee shop right now, and we just saw this dude do something weird, which is pretty crazy. He just did like this little lateral splinter cell type movement. I don't know what it was. It's crazy. Let me see here. Okay, cool. I kind of like the way that's going. Got the whole. Let me see here. Let me see here. Or just one hook phrase. Let's see here. How's it going? Let's see here. What do you recommend? Because Instagram, man, Instagram's phrases, man, they be a little bit different. Just opening the room. What did you do about it? Okay, that works. So, all right, cool. So then what we're gonna do here, we're just gonna go ahead and add a little something here. And then later today, I'm gonna record a video on how to be consistent as a different way of doing some stuff. Let me see here. I'm gonna make that 35. So really right now I'm just working on the overlay, the front settings, right? What does it look like? Sometimes you want to do bright solid colors typically, but we're gonna go with this one. We're gonna go rough and black. Yeah, because right now what I'm doing, I'm just trying to stay consistent, man. You know, just keep posting and just staying ahead of the game. And honestly, it's not just with YouTube, it's with life as a whole. You know, you got to be consistent in life, man. Because the thing is, when you're not consistent in life, your life doesn't grow. It doesn't. kind of like I was saying earlier, when you don't know how to be consistent, you can be consistent in a good way and a bad way. Like, for example, you can be consistent on eating fast food every day, constantly getting coffee, even though this is like my second time, but it's only Monday, you know what I mean? But this can be applied to all areas of life. You got to be consistent because when you don't be consistent, it's like you get some momentum and you fall off. You get some momentum and you fall off. You know what I mean? And the issue with that is that when you keep falling off, you're not making any progression. Sometimes you're on a hill, right? You're like you're on a hill. You're getting a little bit higher and higher because you keep showing up, doing the 1%, right? But sometimes you need to just I'm trying to think of a visual representation for it. Basically, every time you don't stay consistent long enough, you're gonna hit that point where you're right there on the edge, and all you need is that little push. You know, you just need that little push. But the problem is that most people give up right before the edge. You just need that one little nudge, that one little push, and that could be that 1%. That could be that extra rep. That could be that extra 5-10 minutes. You know, and that could be the difference between getting ahead of people and being average. The reason why I say average is because average people, mediocre people, assuming they're not comfortable or where they're at, they're okay with being average. So they're cool with going hard for like 4 or 5 days, falling off, going hard for 2 weeks, falling off, going hard for 2 months, falling off, and then don't start back for another 2. Like that's the norm for them. They're content where their life is at. If you're not content where your life is at, you're going to be consistent for some months. 5 days turn into a week turns into 3 weeks, 3 weeks turn into a month, and so forth. That momentum, that stacking, you're going to get so much more leverage. You're going to get so much more better because you didn't fall short every single time. You stay consistent long enough. Now, it's one of those things where you go hard for 5 days, right? You're supposed to work out 5 days in a row. You only get a chance to work out 3. Working out 3 is better than missing workouts altogether. Because you got to think life is like compound interest. That little bit is going to get you so much momentum. And the thing is, some people just give up too soon, right when they're on the cusp, man. You never know how close you are. And the thing is that if you stay consistent in the long run, things have no choice but to work in your favor. If you want to know how to give yourself the upper hand on anything in your life, stay consistent for 2 weeks. Pick something small, minor. Whether that be going to bed 10 minutes earlier or going to the gym for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to go to the gym bare minimum 3 days out of the week, bare minimum 30 minutes a day. And what you're going to realize is that it's going to be easier for you to stay consistent because you start gaining experience, right? It starts becoming a habit, right? And the thing is with that, it makes it easier for you to not fall off track. You're never going to fall off track if you build up so much momentum where it becomes autopilot. When it becomes autopilot, you already know how to minimize distractions. You already know how to cut things off that are slowing your progress. Because you develop that foundation. Your foundation, the only way you're going to get a foundation with anything is by staying consistent in the long run. Okay? Stop going hard for 3 or 4 days and getting mad why things haven't changed. You got to build that momentum. You got to build that momentum for yourself. The only way you're going to build it is if you stay consistent. Bare minimum 2 weeks, that's 21 days. Shoot, you can even do it for 7 days, but you got to make sure you got your P's and Q's in order, man. You got to make sure your foundation is safeguarded. And what your foundation is, let me talk to you about what your foundation is. Everything has a starting point, okay? Everything has a starting place, all right? Your foundation, think of it like the soil, right? You got your soil for the plant, all right? You put the seed in the pot, okay? So how is the plant going to grow? You got to water it. That watering might be 5-10 minutes out of your day. So those 5-10 minutes, a little bit of water in the plant. That little bit of water, that 5-10 minutes, that's making sure you get safe. That's making sure you get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Okay? That's you making sure you're getting up and doing at least 30 minutes working on a project. And the thing is, when you do those little things enough time, what that does, it builds a foundation because mentally you're going to develop a habit and a structure. Okay. On these days, I remember how things used to be smooth. What made things go smooth for me here? This is where you start calculating that data, and the only way you're going to get data is by monitoring your progress. It's not obsessing. Okay. You're not obsessing on your showing up every single day. That's not what it is. All it is paying attention and doing the non-negotiables. The non-negotiables for the plant to grow. You already put the seed in there. How's the plant going to grow? You got to give it water. Water's a non-negotiable. So in your situation, that could be, all right, I'm turning my TV off at 8 o'clock hard. That way I could be in the bed by 9 a.m. I mean by 9 p.m. Okay, that's your non-negotiable. Do that for 5 days. You do that for 5 days, right? Okay, 5 days might turn into a week. I know some people like to go hard on the weekends, and whatnot. But if you're looking at the bigger picture, man, consistency should be there whether you're taking time off or not. And what I mean by that is it should be a natural part of your being. When you build a foundation for anything in life, it becomes an element of your natural being. It's something you do on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? It's a part of your lifestyle. I'm always getting 8 hours of sleep. I'm always going to the gym bare minimum 3 days out of the week because you build so much of a foundation that becomes your identity, a lifestyle, right? So it's going to be significantly harder for you to fall off track. That's the secret, man. That's the sauce right there. That's with anything in life. So your foundation is the most important thing. Without your foundation, you're never going to get ahead in anything. Okay? Like for me personally, my goal is to be my own boss, right? I'm still trying to figure out the path because I don't like that my job right now is limiting the amount of time I have to spend with my family. And what I mean by limiting, I'm not saying I have a jerk manager. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, like for Thanksgiving, right? My job is retail. I don't like the fact that I got to request time on Thanksgiving just to spend time with my family because it's retail. You know what I mean? So if I was my own boss or had a business, I can pick and set my own hours. So for me to get there, I got to build my foundation. And a lot of times your foundation can also be your why. What is your why? Why are you doing the things you want to do? Why are you doing the things that you want to do? For me personally, my why is I want financial freedom. I want to spend time with my family with no hesitation. You know what I'm saying? I don't want any unnecessary friction, because I'm one of the best people at my job, you know what I'm saying? But I got to still request time off to spend with my family on a holiday. Who's in the store I don't know about y'all, but Thanksgiving weekend or Thanksgiving week, I'm not in no store outside of getting groceries, but the foundation can not only be your habits, but it's also the mental, your why. Your why is one of the strongest things that let me tell you something. Well, let me tell y'all. Look, your why has to be your backbone for everything that you do. Seriously. Okay? If you don't know what your why is, you don't have no purpose. You don't have no drive to get anything done in your life. That's not like a character. That's not a character flaw. It's none of that. What it is simply is that your why is the reason behind why you do the things that you do. I said it on Instagram a while ago. There's a difference between a man that's saying he's going to his 9 to 5 because he got to pay his bills versus a man that's going to a 9 to 5 because he has a wife and kid to provide for. That's two different mindsets for the same thing. That's two different whys for the same thing. What is yours? You got to know why you do the things you do. You got to know the why behind your drive and your purpose. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't know the why behind your drive and your purpose, it's going to be easy for you to fall off track and life get difficult. It's too easy. So your why is crucial, man. That's like your most important thing. That's what's going to allow you to get ahead in life, man. Let's go ahead and get some tags really quick, or do the captions for the one time. I don't really like these crazy colors that pop out with some of these settings on here. That's the thing, man. You just gotta be patient. Right. I think I want that to be. What if I made that one? What if I made that one be red? Right. Let's do that. And then how does that look? There we go. That's better. I like it. I'm still alive. Somebody's watching me. Yeah, this video. I don't really like this one too much, but it's all good. Got me feeling in some kind of way. I feel like I could trim this a little bit better. Let's see here. Tough. I like it. All right, cool. So we're gonna rock with that one. Yeah. Get your just got on me. That's what we got going on here. Let's see what we're doing. We got about 30 something minutes. Anything you want, never stop. I need you. Why people struggle with self-improvement. I think why people struggle with self-improvement, honestly. So this is why people struggle with self-improvement. It's mostly because they don't have accountability. You got to be accountable, man. All right, you have to be able to take accountability for where your life is at. You know, what are you doing on a day-to-day basis? That is so huge. You know, if you're not paying attention to what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, life is going to feel like it's on autopilot. You ever heard the meme where people go to Chick-fil-A and they hold my pleasure? Like every time you say thank you or I appreciate it, they say my pleasure, my pleasure. That's equivalent to what your life is when you don't know how to be accountable. That's what it is. You know, at some point, you have to be able to do the things you don't want to do to get to where you want to be at in life. And being self-accountable is one of those big things. You know, you got a lot of people that are struggling with where they are in life because they're so busy, as I said earlier, they're so busy focusing on external things. Okay? I don't care what's going on in the news. You know, I don't care about what Kylie Jenner and Kim Kardashian got in the fight about. I don't care about that. I don't care who won the NBA finals. What I care about is what I got going on in my life and what needs to be changed, what needs to be improved. Self-improvement is such a huge thing because that could be spread across so many different areas in your life. You know, whether that could be improving your family, improving your relationship with the Most High, whoever you believe in, right? It could be such a big benefit in so many different ways. You know, getting better at reading, that's a form of self-improvement. Getting better at your job, that's a form of self-improvement. Because when you make it a goal to improve yourself as a person, generally speaking, if you make it a goal to improve yourself as a person, all right, it's like a domino effect. Life has no choice but to get better. Life has no choice but to level up for you because you making it a goal to improve yourself. All right, focusing on something that's going to add value, that's a form of self-improvement. Whether that's you trying to get to work on time, maybe improving your dating life, maybe trying to improve your finances, all these are different areas of self-improvement because in order to increase those, you have to get better. How is she going to get better without putting in the work? That's what self-improvement is. It's putting in the work, showing up when you don't feel like it, not relying on motivation. You know, it's the ability to do things when you don't feel like it, regardless of the circumstances. Because a lot of people, you get up and go to work and you don't feel like it. Why do you go to work? Because my bills don't care about my feelings. All right, what happens if you apply that same amount of energy and drive to your goals, to your self-improvement journey, improving your mental health, right? Trying to get bigger, stronger. Maybe your goal is to lose weight. It's all an element of self-improvement. And if you make that a priority, all right, if you make this number one in your life, it's going to be a domino effect, man. It's just going to ripple. Money gonna start getting better. Your relationships gonna get better. Like the quality of your life has no choice but to get better. But it's not gonna get better if you don't stay in the game long enough. That's where the consistency part comes in. I'm telling you, man, if people knew the importance of just showing up, being consistent, man, like it'll just make life be so much easier for you. Like ain't nobody touching it. Like life has no choice but to get better for you. Life has no choice but to level up and improve. Like it's kind of funny because some people like to look at life, right, as like a video game. I can see that. I can see life as a video game because when it comes to like personal development, how to get better at life, how to improve your mental health, right? All that is an element of personal development. Now, where it becomes personal development is, for example, personal development is I'm going to start brushing my teeth with my left hand when I'm right-handed because science says that neuroplasticity, right, how your brain thinks and how it builds new cells and neurons. When you're doing something that you're not used to, brushing your teeth with your left hand, the brain fires off a whole new set of neurons. Your life works the same way when you're starting a new habit. All right. That's why people say when it comes to trying to be, positive, right? Being positive isn't always just being positive all the time. It's about practicing a balance of neutrality because when you're neutral, your emotions are always going to stay here. And it makes it easy for you to, when I get up here, I know how to bring it down. When I get down here, because I did the work and I showed up and been consistent, I get back here, right? It's a weighing thing. You never want to be too high. You never want to be too low. You always want to try to work in that state of middle. That's your baseline, being right in the middle. Your baseline, being neutral, that makes it easier for you to conquer anything in your life. Straight up. Life, what is that phrase? There's a phrase that's like, life is, I can't remember that phrase. Basically, well, I think it's 10% of life, 80% of life is what happens to you, and then 20% is how you react to it. How do you respond? Right? That's an element of personal development. When you're trying to improve any small area, in your life, whether that be your finances, whether that be, what's another example of it? Maybe you want to read more. What I'm saying? Maybe you want to improve your knowledge. What I'm saying? You want to just personal development, man, can cover so many different areas. It's what it feels like. Somebody's watching. Let me see here. Let's see here. Let's see here. I'm about to start back school. All right. So now, go ahead and get this uploaded now. Let's see here. Do I bring my beats? I want to say I brought my beats. I think I did. Yep, I sure did. Oh, I forgot that I got my tripod with me. Let me see here. Oh, I didn't bring my beats though. Dang it. Okay. Yep, I did not bring them. Or am I tripping? Let me see here. So right now I'm about to upload a video straight to IG, but my audio, because I use a headset, as you can tell. Nope, that's not it. All right, cool. I could probably just do it real quick and mute y'all for a moment. Yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna have to do. Or I could upload this straight to Instagram now that I think about it. They're talking about creatine. Daily habits to load up testosterone. That's a Porsche. That's a Porsche. Wow, that's a spider. You don't see that often. That's tough. And bringing us crumble cookies. I follow this guy called Hard Body on Instagram. Man, his stuff is tough. I love his crazy work. Let's see here. All right, so how you do anything is how you do everything. Yes, sir. I agree with that. How you do anything is how you do everything. Now, I'm pretty sure y'all probably curious on like what that means. So I like that. How you do anything is how you do everything. That goes back to what I was saying about why it's important for you to be mindful of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Are you showing up consistently? Are you taking notes? Are you tracking your progress? You know? Ooh, I like this one.